Hello and welcome back to another Total War Warhammer replay. In this replay, I'm actually playing against a person called Flying Taco. He's been in many Total War Warhammer tournaments, a very good player, and I knew that I had to respect him and obviously play to my best if I was going to basically beat him, because he's a very good player. It was funny because I literally just finished watching a video on Turin's channel of him playing Beastmen against a person and just winning. So I just watched that and then I ran into him in multiplayer, so it was quite funny. But as for the build, I am playing Lizardmen, and I've got 10 and 1 as my lord. I basically gave him Flock of Doom and the Manticore summon. Pretty basic stuff with him. Of course, Manticore summons against Skaven, very useful. You can go snipe out casters and lords and all those useful things. And also, now that Skaven have got like rattling gunners and warp block Jezals, having Manticores to get in those back lines can be really helpful. As for my front line though, I did go extremely wide. Okay, so I went skink cohorts in the front line. I think I had 4 of them, and then behind them I had 3 skink cohorts. So basically, the skink cohort with javelins, they're going to get what little damage they can, but then of course it's just going to become an all-out grind. For my on my left side here, on my flanks, I had 2 skink skirmishers. Those are basically to deal with rat ogres. I wanted to make sure, of course, if he tried to flank round my sides with rat ogres, that I had a way of dealing with it. On this particular flank, though, I had some Cold One Riders and Feral Cold Ones. This was basically getting into his back line in case he had rattling gunners and warp block Jezals again. But as for the main, sort of build of my army, I went for 2 Stegodons with crossbows. Now, if you don't know, these guys are really good against Skaven now. The reason I say that is because Skaven usually try to bring, like, basically rattling gunners, warp block Jezals, warp lightning cannons, claw catapults. So these Stegodons, if you bring 2 of them, it's almost guaranteed that you'll have a really good even trade with the Skaven, because if they bring warp lightning cannons, you're going to win that matchup. Any sort of catapult, you're going to win that. But also now, if they bring the snipers, you have a really good chance at basically doing some decent damage back to them. But also, of course, you can snipe out other stuff. And lastly, in the back here, I've got the Legion of Chakra. For those of you that are new, these are the Regiment of Renown of Saurus Spearmen, but they actually have an ability called Shield of Chakra. Now, against Skaven, this ability is really useful now because of all the missiles they have. It gives you 44% missile resistance. Ridiculous. Very good. And then I also took a Revivification Crystal just for 10 and 1 because, of course, 10 and 1, he's not, he's a decent lord, but, he can get sniped down by a lot of these, sniper units. So, I want to make sure I have some heals for him. For Flying Taco, he had a nice build. He's got basically a shit load of clan rats with spears. That's, of course, if I have any nasty dinos. He took 4 rat ogres, okay? So I guess in case I had Temple Guard or Saurus Warriors, these guys would be able to do, pretty much nice damage to them. He took Warplock Jezals, and he also took Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, which are the Regiment of Renown of, the Warplock Jezals. He also had some clan rats. He had the Regiment of Renown clan rats. Here with the flaming attacks and these clan rats back here. As for his lord, he went for just a generic warlord here. Obviously, he was trying to go a little bit wider, be a bit cheaper, not actually get a proper warlord. So, respect for doing that, because that is a very risky play, and most Skaven people would never do something like that. So, very well played to him for picking such a risky army. Plague Priest here. He had, I believe he had the Wither and Vermintide. So, getting some summons out there. And in the back here, he had some Storm Vermin. So, yeah, that's his army. Let's get right into this replay. So, basically, I sent the Stegodons a little bit forward and started shooting into his Plague Priest, because I thought, okay, well, this thing's going to be a real horrible thing to grind out against. So, I wanted to try and get rid of it. But he's going for those dukes. I've got to say, he is trying to juke me as much as possible with that. He's going for those nice, quick... Oh, yeah. Oh, it does go straight through the middle of the bell. So he's trying his dukes. He's moving a lot here. But his Warplock Jezals are shooting directly into my Stegodon here. So what I do is, I move my entire force forward, and I bring the Legion of Chakra here in to help. So I pop the Shield of Chakra. So now all the shooting that's coming onto the Stegodon is going to be reduced by 44%. So that was really nice. Should have switched target by here, but he kept shooting at the same Stegodon. So I was very happy about that. On my flanks here, I am moving up the Feral Cold Ones, and also the Cold One Riders, and the Skink Skirmishers, just to come around here and get into his back line when his main force pushes forward. I've pushed my force a little bit forward to try and get him ready to do some early damage, because, of course, this is going to be a very scary Skaven front line. He's got a lot of rat ogres, a lot of clan rats with spears. So it is very worrying. The javelins start shooting into these clan rats with spears. These guys don't have shields, so getting some nice damage there. These clan rats do have spears though, so that was kind of annoying. And these clan rats, of course, they don't have shields. But yeah, so we're getting in there. He's got 2 rat ogres here popping on this side here, but we do start shooting at his warlord a little bit as well. I do believe because some of my Stegodons couldn't see his plague priest, but I do use 10 in 1 to summon the first manticore here. And I'll explain what I'm doing with that in a second. But over here, I do have the skink skirmishers. They are coming in here. And I do send the feral cold ones in to get a nice rear charge. But skink skirmishers here are here to back up with the rattling gunners. But the manticore, I do start sending, of course, right onto Warlock Jezars. And I do come in with a nice rear charge as well with these feral cold ones. Because these are pretty scary units. And they can do a lot of damage. So getting in there with the feral cold ones and the manticore was very, very nice. I should have split them up. But over here we do cast Flock of Doom as well, because I saw that he had a Plague Priest here and his Rat Ogre, so I wanted to try and get rid of this Plague Priest early, because I saw that this was going to be a huge problem if I let this thing live for a long amount of the game. All this time though, my Stegodons have been all shooting though. They're still shooting into his Lord, doing some nice damage, but he's juking them like a boss. Like, he is doing a really good job here. I do pull 10 and 1 out though, because he does bring in some Rat Ogres to support his Plague Priest, and, you know, Rat Ogres will do some nice damage to 10 and 1, so I try and get them out as quickly as possible. Legion of Chakra though is here, ready to help out with this Plague Priest and the Rat Ogres. Over here I do summon a second Manticore. I believe I summoned this second Manticore because I wanted to try and get rid of this Plague Priest, okay? I knew that if I just let this thing live, it was going to be a real problem. But he does jeopardize my backline a little bit here. He does got some Clan Rats with spears coming through. But over here, we do get a nice charge on the Plague Priest with the Manticore and 10 and 1. But he does start spamming summons to try and save it. And I understand that because, you know, if it basically, you know, if it dies, it dies. And that's a good worthy unit lost. Over here, the Stegodon, I do charge one of the Stegodons in against the Rat Ogre to sort of support here, because I was losing the front line a little bit here, and the only way I thought, okay, the only way I'm going to sort of, like, you know, control it is by sending a Stegodon in and basically make it tie up loads of units. But over here, we do sort of have an even trade here. So I'm attacking his Plague Priest right now and doing some serious damage, but he's also doing a decent amount to my Basidon Vivification Crystal. So what I do is I cast Flock of Doom here, because I saw how many units were sort of covered around the Vivification Crystal, so I wanted to get as much damage as I could there. I have some units in the back here, just sitting here at the moment. Pretty poor micromanagement by me, but, you know, sometimes you just forget. I do bring 10 and 1 out. He's being attacked by some Rat Ogres, but he's still on decent health. The Vivification Crystal is running away from all this horrible fire here, but I still have a, you know, a Stegodon here, and with that 120 armor, that thing's just going to stay in here and tank so much damage. He is fighting Clan Rats though, not Clan Rats, Storm Vermin over here, and that's a really good fight for the Stegodon. I mean, he's basically get all the worth he can out of that. 10 and 1 over here, still chilling and just doing what he does best, you know, flying around. Manticore finally does go around because, of course, it changes to summons. Over here, though, I do rush the Stegodon back over here because I did not want it to get caught out by all these anti-large units here. It'd be pretty bad if I did. I do cast Stand Your Ground here to all these units because I've got so many units now here that, of course, Stand Your Ground is going to be affecting so many different things, given that melee attack, oh no, not melee attack, melee defense and leadership buff, so very nice. Still sending some Rat Ogres in. As you can see, balance of power, very even. He does sort of come back and try to clear up my backline now, which was, I do like this, okay, so what he knew that this blob here was too powerful to take out right now. He still has a lot of Rat Ogres, you know, decent health on some of them. These skink skirmishers in the back here have just been chilling and doing what they can. But he thought right now he's going to go and kill my entire backline over here. You know, I've got some skinks over here, some skinks here, some skinks here, and some skinks here. He made a very smart move to try and clear out my entire backline here because he knew that if he didn't, then there'd be problems. Over here, this was very funny. Basically, what happened here is the Vivification Crystal started walking up over here, and me and him seemed to only just notice it at the last second, so I start bringing it back in. We're both rushing towards it to try and save it. So I basically have all the dinos in here, coming in as a big dino family, saving their little brother Bastardodon here, you know, making sure that, you know, get away from him, you know, trying to keep him alive as much as possible. You know, because I'm trying to, you know, make sure it's fine. I do pop the Shield of Chakra again because we are getting shot by these Natty Bubo sharpshooters here, and even though, you know, they're sniper units, they just do so much damage from afar. Like, they are sniping my Vivification Crystal, so they are picking actually a very valuable target right now. Over here, though, is Plague Priest is, you know, basically in the back here. So what I do is I think, okay, 2 can play at this game. I've still got 2 Stegodons with, you know, a decent amount of ammunition. We're going to start shooting right into your Plague Priest again. So he does start to do some jukes again. He tries to juke. I send 10 and 1 over here just to try and rout off some of these units, but we do start to get some nice damage on the Plague Priest. He's only got about 300 health left, so one of my Stegodon does run out of ammo though, so that was unfortunate, but one of them still does have some ammunition, so I'm still shooting in with what little I've got. Does that hit? No, so that one does miss, but we are still shooting in. So over here, he sort of surrounds me with a lot of his army here. I'm sort of fighting on this hilltop here with my last stand, but 2 Stegodons, very, very hard to take out. Do have some Skinks that rally back, but as I say, 2 Stegodons is a lot for him to take out, especially not without Stormvermin with Halberds. So he sends his Clan Rats in, he sends his Rat Ogres in. So what I do is I get the Stegodons to fighting these ones over here, and I start leading the Chakbot on these Rat Ogres here, but this was beautiful. So of course, you know, he sent a lot in here, and I just thought, okay, that's fine by me. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna fucking summon a Flock of Doom on you. So yeah, get some nice damage on all these units here. You know, it's quite a big blob of units. So I sent the Stegodon in here. These Stegodons will just tank so much. He sends his Lord in here as a final attempt, I do believe, to try and get rid of 10 and 1. But 10 and 1's a beast, you know. As I say, especially with Stand Your Ground, he ain't going to go anywhere fast. Got some nice damage on the Warlord, and as you can see, the Warlord is starting to rout off. Does have some spears coming back, but as I say, that's just not enough. Without any Stormvermin with Halberds or Rattling Gunners, these Stegodons are going to probably be able to tank pretty much anything here. I do believe I cast one more Flock of Doom here because everything is still in this massive, you know, chunk of shit here. So I do cast, I believe... Oh no, this is actually his Wither. So he does cast a Wither in here on all my units. But as I do believe, I do counter it with a Flock of Doom. Yeah, so here we go. I counter it with my own spell with a Flock of Doom. He had so many units in here, so, you know, I wanted to get as much money worth as possible. Balance of power does start to go in my favour. He does have a bit of chaff coming back here, a little bit here, but at the end of the day, it's just not enough. And everything just starts to rout. He's only got a few units back over here, pretty much. But, yeah, all these units start to pretty much rout off. And, you know, the only thing he's really got left is Stormvermin over here, which, you know, basically goes. But, very, very well played to Flying Taco. I mean, as I say, like, I think, you know, I think this was a very, very lucky match. I think you know, I just think you got... I think, well, as I say, I think we both made some poor mistakes in that match. But, I think just able to pull through a little bit better. But I'm not in any way saying that... I think that settles it. I hope I meet you in other games because you're a very good player. And I like how you play fair because I hate it when you fucking play multiplayer. You get matched up against cocks who just fucking spam artillery. But you, really good player. Thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.